In this tutorial, we're going to cover how to create a Photoshop action that will let you replicate a neon glow effect on a custom shape. So the first thing we're going to do is do a make sure you've got some shapes loaded. So let's do a File, New. Let's go ahead and grab I'm going to do Print, Letter. Let's go ahead and do Portrait's fine, 300's fine, Create. So I'm going to come down here to my custom shapes, grab your amoeba tool. You're going to come over here to your shapes and decide what shape you want to make glowing. You can either go in and load more shapes, or you can go ahead and look at some of the shapes that are already available in Photoshop. Do append, it'll give you some more additional options. So make sure you've got a shape ready to go. So the first thing we want to do is create the background. So we're going to go here to our background. I'm going to come down here to my solid, my layer style, and grab a new fill layer, solid color, and I'm going to go ahead and make it gray. So 1 1 1 1 1 1. It's going to make it kind of a nice gray color. I'm going to go ahead and I need to decide which shape it is I want to make glowing. So for this one, let's go ahead and make a glowing starburst works for me. And let's not. Ooh, there we go. Let's do the radioactive one. So I'm going to go ahead, before I draw it, I want to make sure my stroke is white, that I have at least 10 points, and that it is solid. I'm going to go ahead and, if you hold Shift, it'll keep that in proportion, and draw your shape out. So now one of the first things we want to do is start actually recording our action. So let's go ahead to our window, come down here to Actions, and make sure you have that action panel open. We're going to go to your hamburger menu there, and we want to create a new set. So this is your set of actions. I'm going to call mine Oser, call yours whatever you want, and say OK. Now within that, I need to create a new action itself. So I'm going to come back here to my hamburger, come down to New Action, and I'm going to call this one Neon Effect. And I'm going to hit Record. So now everything that I'm doing is going to be recorded as to the individual steps. And I know it's recording because I've got this little red record button turned on. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is come over here to our layer. I want to do a right click and I want to duplicate that layer because one's going to be the front, one is going to be the back. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the visibility off on my one that's to the front, and I'm going to play with this one that's the shape one, which is our original to begin with. Let's go ahead and go up to Layers, or Layer, come down to Layer Style, and we want to play with the Gradient Overlay. So within Gradient Overlay, your blend mode needs to be normal. Your opacity needs to be set at 60%. You need to select your gradient color. So what color do you want to have your gradient be within there? So I'm going to use rainbow just because it's a little more obvious. For this one, you could choose linear, you could choose radial. There's different types of gradients you can have going on. So up to you as to how you're going to define that gradient. And once you're okay with it, say OK. So now I want to go to Filter and Blur and come down here to Gaussian Blur. And you want to do Convert to Smart Object. You want your radius, so if I do minus, you can kind of see a little bit better, your radius to be 4 pixels. And say OK. Alright, so now I want to go ahead and make sure my copy is visible. We want to play with that one a little bit. So we're going to be on that top one. We're going to do Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, Convert to Smart Object. This time we only want it to be a 1 pixel radius. So if I do minus, you can kind of see what's going on there. So I'm going to say OK. So if I look really, really close, I can kind of see the color behind what we have going on there. Alright, so far it doesn't look like it's doing anything. Let's go ahead and go with this layer selected, go to Layer, go to Layer Style, Come down here to blending options. Within our blending options, we want to go ahead to this one that says fill opacity under advanced blending. Take it all the way to 0. Now we want to add an outer glow. For our outer glow, we want to change the blending mode to color dodge. We want to change our opacity to about 50%. And we want our color to be white. And our size to be about 18 pixels. So you can kind of play with that around with this. You can decide, look at different things as so you can kind of see what it's doing. And when you're happy with that, that's cool. Don't push OK yet. Go ahead, go to color overlay. We want to add a color overlay, and the color is white, and we're going to say OK. So once again, it seems like we haven't really done anything, but we have. So with this shape 1 copy, I want you to go ahead and come down to the bottom of the layers panel and grab the one that says create new group. Grab that file folder. Within that file folder, let's call it over. Then we're going to go ahead and within over, take this shape 1 copy, drag it into the folder called over. So now I can see within over, I have that one thing. So now with over selected, I'm going to shift click and grab this other one called shape 1, because I need to put them in their own group as well. So I'm going to come down here to the groups, and I'm going to rename that group logo. Alright, so still it's not working because we need to change the layer order just a little bit. So I'm going to do my drop down here, and I want to go ahead and grab this shape 1 and drag it up over in between the one that says logo. So you should end up with kind of a stair-stacked looking layers panel. So when you're happy with it, go ahead and say stop on recording, because you've created the effect. So let's find out if it actually worked. So let's do our file save as on this one. First initial, last name, underscore neon 1, and save it as a PSD. And hit save, put it where you're going to be able to find it. So let's do file new. Let's create another print document, another letter, 8.5 by 11, create. Go ahead, create your solid fill color again. You can choose pink, you can choose something else if you like something else better. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and choose what kind of custom shape I want to create. So this time, that one had a lot. Let's do something with a little more color to it that you can kind of see. Let's try one of my speech bubbles. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, draw my speech bubble. So I've got my speech bubble. It's still the strokes, it's white stroke, 10 points. So now I'm going to come up here to my one that says neon effect in my actions and push play. Yes, we want to convert it to a smart object. And it's going to go through and do all those steps for you. So instead of you having to go through and do that again, you have now created that action. Now for some people, they want to play and it doesn't look as neon-y as they want. If you click on this Gaussian blur, you can actually kind of play with how much it is going to blur and kind of get an even more neon effect, kind of the neon light effect. So it's up to you as to what you like. So you can always go back through once you run the actions and play and fine tune. So you're going to go ahead, do file, save as, first initial, last name, underscore neon 2, as a PSD, and save that one. And those are the two that you're going to submit for that one. Now to do neon text is a little bit different. We're not going to worry about it for this one. For this one, it's just a matter of can you learn how to create an action that is repeatable. And that's all for this one.